Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom to Akim Nakwat out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. This one's titled, Not Everyone That Looks Like a Jake is in fact a Jake. Alright? And this is, came through the spirit. There was a video on Rai La Yasharala, his backup page, called He Must Be a Hamite. And, the video, you can go and watch it if you'd like. It just got me thinking, I should go ahead and do a lesson again about, tares and stuff, especially, when you never know if people are waking up or coming to this truth at any given time. And it's been a while, I believe, since I've touched on tares. And, after, time and time again, we recycle, topics and go back in on them, for edification's sake. And that's how you learn, by the way, is through repetition. Years ago, I can't remember who made it, but a brother or apostle made a lesson called, Don't Despise, Lesson Refresher. And, it's good. It's good for those that you got to realize, it's not, always, just about, you brothers that have been in it for a while, but there might be, at some point when you woke up, you weren't aware of some of these topics. So sometimes you have to go into a little bit more of the milk topics. And, of course, one of these being is, looks can be deceiving, all right? Just because someone looks like your brother doesn't mean they're your brother. And then you can go and do lessons on that. Not everybody that is an Israelite is your brother, all right? And I've done lessons on that called Not Everyone Is Your Brother, Jake. So, this is my brother, my Hebrew Israelite brother. Well, where are they from? Well, I like GMS, but they like IUIC, but we brothers. No, you're not. All right, brother, not in this ministry, no. We're not. He might be maybe your biological brother if that's your real brother. All right, your father's seed, but that ain't your spiritual brother at all, because he's not coming in the right way. Okay, so not everyone that looks like his Jake is in fact a Jake either. He looks like me. He's got melanin in his skin. No, that's not a Jake, man. That's a Hamite. That could be an Ishmaelite. That could be an especially dark Moabite. You don't know who that is. All right, just like every so-called white-looking brother, or just like every so-called white-looking brother or Asian-looking brother isn't an Edomite or a Moabite or Ammonite, right? But they can be Israelites too. In this case, if I'm saying brother, they'd be an Israelite. So that's something you got to take into perspective, is that human eyes are not accurate. All right, the accuracy of human eyes, the spiritual outlook on them is not necessarily. It's imperfect. Okay, you can weigh something through the spirit, and that's why you have to do it. Try them by the spirit. Okay, that's a scripture. Let's go and get that. Try them by the spirit. Try their spirits, whether they be of the Most High. 1 John 4:1. 1 John 4:1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of Yahweh, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. And this is dealing with false prophets, but you also have to do this with, people that you find yourself amongst as well, with, what you would call so-called brethren. Okay, I say so-called because some of this, who you're calling brethren, is in fact not brethren. Okay, so you got to try them by their, try the spirits whether they are of Yahweh. You got to try their spirits, okay? Because they might be coming in some weird, disorderly way, or they in fact might not even be. There was a mosquito that somehow made its way in the car. I had to get that motherfucker out. All right, so just because he looks like you don't mean he's you. All right, just because he doesn't look like you doesn't mean he's not you. Right? Looks can be deceiving. Okay? You might think someone's a good person. Turns out they're actually a really bad person. Okay? There's many examples that looks can be deceiving. You look at someone and say, oh, this is this and that. I can go and buy, save up 2 of my paychecks and go and buy a Gucci shirt and, some, fancy, $200-$300 pants and, and some Jordans or some other shoes, neglect all my bills, right? And I can go out and get myself a pair of Coach sunglasses or something too, right? And I can masquerade and hang around down here in Vegas, hang around places like Summerlin, all right, or go down on the strip and look like some rich motherfucker. But I'm not. See how looks can be deceiving? All right, and little would they know that I saved up 2 checks, and I'm however much money in debt. All right, don't have this, don't have that, ain't ate this week, right? Because of all the money, and they think I'm rich, but they wouldn't know because why? Looks. They wouldn't know who I am really because of looks. See how going off of looks doesn't really get you anywhere, right? So Matthew 13 and 24, that's what we're really focused on. That's the big, Matthew 13 is the real heavy hitter today. All right, so we're going to go through 24 through like 30, I can't remember. But it says, so 24, it says another parable, and there's a lot of parables within the Bible, and that's what you got to understand is to start, understanding what a parable is. And in order to do that, let's define what a parable is. Let's go. What is a parable? Okay, a parable is what? A parable. A simple story used to illustrate a moral or spiritual lesson as told by Yahushua in the Gospels. Okay, so another word would be allegory. Okay, a story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. In this case, not political, but religious. Okay, and so yeah, and why is it hidden? Because hey, write these words in a book and hide them. Okay, and it's all through the Holy Spirit at the end of the day, and only the people of the Holy Spirit are really going to be able to understand them and be able to understand the parables that go with them. So it says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. Sowed is a archaic word for planting. So he planted good seed in his field, right? Says, but while men slept, while they were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat. Okay, now if you go and look up, a tare versus wheat, you're not going to be able to tell the difference unless you're a farmer. Okay, see, tares and wheat. Now you might be able to tell these big golden ones, right? But these other ones right here, you can't hardly almost tell these from this unless you know what you're doing. Right? Unless you know what you're doing, right? You might say, oh, look, that's a piece of wheat. That ain't wheat. That's a tare, okay? Look, that's a tare. No, that ain't a tare. That's a wheat, right? So the thing is that they look very, very similar. It says, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went this way. But a farmer, here's the thing, a farmer, all right, would know what a tare and a wheat is. They would know, all right, but not everybody else can. Says, but when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did thou not sow good seed in thy field? Would you use some type of messed up seed? Right? From whence then hath it tares? Why does it have tares then? He said unto them, an enemy hath done this. In this case, it would be, Esau, one of the other nations that would be sleeping with our women. All right, and we know that the seed line comes through the father. And we'll prove that in a little bit later, Lord willing, I remember. And, it comes to the father's seed line. All right, they declared their pedigrees by the house of their fathers. All right, in case I don't end up remembering, you can go ahead and look that up. That's a scripture. Okay, type in they declared their pedigrees by the house of their father. Okay, and so that they'll sleep with our women. And now you have, a brown-looking baby that's really an Edomite through its seed line. It says, he said unto them, an enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? You want us to go and get rid of them, right? But he said, nay. This is red letter, so this is Yahushua speaking, right? But he said, nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together. Let them stay together, right? And that's how it works. Sometimes you have a lot of tares within the Jake community. They grow up around Jake. They might act, walk, talk like Jake. Something's just not quite right. And everybody always knows. They just don't know. Something's not quite right about him. Or something's not quite right about her. But once you find out, you find out. It says, let both grow together until the harvest. The salvation when Yahushua comes back. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares and bind them into bundles. And bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So save the wheat, and burn up the tares. So, and you might have someone that looks like a Jake, but they're just not a Jake. All right, not everyone that looks like a Jake is in fact a Jake. I'm gonna go ahead and pause right there, and I'll be back with you in just a minute, Lord willing. Until then, shalom. All right, shalom, we're back. So, yeah, I went ahead and I pulled up Numbers 1 and 18 because we, spoke about it earlier. And I said, let me go ahead. When I start this up, let me go ahead and get it. Because I know some people aren't going to look it up. So I figured I might as well go ahead and do it. So when we were mentioning, just because you're going to have some Jakes that look like Jakes, all right, but are in fact not a Jake, you're going to have, and how that whole terror situation works is when you have a heathen, trying to gather my words, a heathen father and a Jake mother, okay? A heathen father and a Jake mother. So, and we know that because your seed line is passed down to the father, and this is Numbers 1 and 18 to prove that. As I said, we mentioned it earlier. It says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. So again, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. All right, by the house. And back then, a house was, your lineage. All right, you would have, like, for example, if you ever seen Game of Thrones, House Targaryen, House Lannister, House Stark, right? They call them houses, right? So let's get that word pedigree, in case anybody tries to disagree with the pedigree. We can go ahead and get the actual Google definition, okay? So a pedigree is what? It goes back to race, okay? It goes back to your ethnicity definition. Okay, and definition 1 is talking about animals, but it can be used. The record of descent of an animal, showing it to be purebred. Definition 2 says the recorded ancestry, especially upper class ancestry of a person or family. So his ancestry is what? One's family or ethnic descent. Now, if you go back to descent, it's going to eventually bring up the word race. But right there, you saw ethnic descent. Not purebred. We were looking for the word descent. But ethnic descent, all right? And as you can see, if you're going into right here, you're going to see the word race pop up. Ancestry, pedigree, strain, bloodline. You see, we call it seed line because it's the seed of the father. In here somewhere, it should be race. Right there. All right, it's the first one. I didn't have to go. And the recorded ancestry, you see it right there. Race. All right, another one would be ethnicity. Okay, as you can see, going back into ancestry. Ethnic. All right, what does ethnic mean? All right, ethnic. All right, relating to a group of people who share a common culture, language, religion, ancestry, or other characteristics. Okay, and if you look up ethnicity, all right, ethnicity, a lot of time is talking about race. They say it goes back to religion and stuff. But you never hear people say, what's your ethnicity for religion? They never say that. What ethnicity are you? Oh, I'm Christian, thank you very much. Oh, I'm Mormon. No. If you say, what's your ethnicity? They're gonna tell you, oh, I'm Mexican, I'm this and that. Right? Ethnicity. Okay? It's race. All right? Race. And it's declared by your father. So if your father, and remember, it's all about the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, through that Jacob line, that seed line was blessed and is blessed. Okay, and that's why right now we're in punishment because we were going off, and so Jacob had to be punished. All right, and we had the curses put on us, and and the curses. All right, we'll probably have to do a lesson on that soon. But yeah, man. So these people, they try to say, I had to gather my thoughts there, it's like these people try to say, oh, the thing you hear in the world a lot is like mixed race a lot, and there's no really such thing as mixed race. I myself am quote-unquote mixed race, being Mexican and white, but I'm not really mixed race because I'm one race, all right, through my father's line. Really, my mother's line doesn't matter at all, so in that case, I would just be, all right, a Mexican, okay, which would make me an Issacharite, but like I said, what you look like, looks are deceiving. Okay, and even going back to seed line, if you look like Mexicans, all right, like I said, I believe I go back to Judah, just personal, the way I am, the way I get along with Judites, and just like the way I grew up and the things that I was involved with and things I got down with, just line up more with Judite culture than it does with Issacharite culture. Okay, Issachar, there's nothing wrong with Issachar. All right, y'all are brothers, right? Y'all the brothers, man. And I don't think I'm necessarily an Issacharite. All right. For example, my wife, she looks like she would be a so-called Judite, but she doesn't believe that she goes back to Judah. She believes she goes back to somewhere in the northern kingdom, more than likely, Gad. And, you have a lot of so-called, and that's what she is, so-called black woman, a lot of so-called black people that you don't even know it, go back to Gad, right? Which would be so-called Native Americans. You got to realize the Trail of Tears had all of us, all right? So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So you might look like a so-called Negro, and you might be a so-called Mexican. You might look like a so-called Mexican, be a so-called Negro. You might be a so-called Mexican and be a so-called Native American. You might be a so-called Native American and really be a so-called a Negro. You see how it goes there, all right? And because again, and that was actually in the title of, not everyone that looks like a Jake is in fact a Jake. And if you want the longer title, not everyone that looks like a Jake is in fact a Jake, and not everybody that looks like a heathen is in fact a heathen. But that's too long of a title, right? And then in quotes, I put looks can be deceiving. You hear that in the world a lot. Looks can be deceiving. Someone might look like a good person, but they're not. All right. Someone might look like a bad person, but they're not. All right. Someone might look like they're a, really good. Like I said earlier, I could go and spend all my money and make myself look like I have a lot of money, and I don't. Looks can be deceiving. You'd say, oh, he has a lot of money. No, I don't. I'm flat broke, right? I could wear, the expensive colognes, or get me a Gucci shirt, get me some Ray-Bans, all right, get me the brand new Jordans right off the block, all right, and do all these things and look like I have a decent amount of change, but in reality, I wouldn't, all right? And that's why, we don't go off of looks. It's through the seed line. So would they look like a white person? We don't give a shit if they look like a white person, all right? Even though I'm a so-called Mexican, I look like a so-called white person, okay? There's a lot of us, I almost said Issacharites. There's a lot of us, a lot of the Issacharites out there, a lot of us so-called Mexicans. Again, I'm a so-called Mexican, but not an Issacharite. So a lot of us so-called Mexicans that we just look white, man. We just look super fucking white, all right, such as myself. All right, but then again, that's also just because I have, a white mom. But there's some people that don't even have a white mom, and they just come out really light. All right, they actually have a name for them. I can't remember that they have a proper name for white Mexicans. And no, it's not always because they go back to conquistadors. Okay, sometimes they could have had a conquistador got with this woman, and they had heathen children, but those children grew up and they had those women, and those women are heathens, all right? But now you had an Issacharite that got with that woman being lighter, and now their children are lighter, and that could happen again and happen again. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes, man. All right, look at Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't look like a straight up black man, but his daddy black as hell, right? Super dark. All right, Wesley Snipes dark. Okay. Now, I'm not saying it wrong. Dark skin is beautiful, man. I wish I had me some. But, not the time nor place right now. So, protects you from the sun and everything, And that's the other thing is that, the society has conned you into thinking that dark skin is bad. You have Jake thinking, oh, I hope my kid don't come out dark. Let me check his ear, And that's just not the case, man. I have people hoping that their babies aren't dark. All right, and that's not something that you should hope for. All right, I get it in this society. If you're looking at it from a spiritual point of view, you'd maybe hope that your kid came out a little lighter, so they're not, because dark-skinned people in the society are more ostracized and discriminated against than light skin. All right, light-skinned people, light-skinned Jake generally get a few more passes than dark skin. I mean, at the end of the day, they're still not getting too many because they're still a Jake, but they get a couple more, right? More likely to be hired being a light skin than dark skin. So, and that just, goes back to the hatred of the world. But you can't go off of skin color, how somebody looks or doesn't look, all right? You have guys out there that look like Wesley Snipes that are just Edomites, man. Just Edomites. Their great-great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaddy, all right, is a fucking cracker, man, all right? So, and you have that one Jake guy, you have that one black guy, let me rephrase it, not Jake, one black guy that has, his great-grandfather was like Benjamin Franklin or something like that, or was it George Washington? I can't remember which one. You can look it up. And him and his whole grandchildren and everything, like, yeah, we're black and everything. You don't even realize you're not. You don't even realize you're not. You're Edomite. I gotta go look that up and show you. Last descendant of George Washington. I think it was George Washington. If it wasn't, it was Benjamin Franklin. This guy right here, George Washington Carver. There was another guy too. But yeah, you see him. And people will be like, oh, look at him. He's a black man related to George Washington. Yeah, no, he's just an Edomite. He's just an Edomite. And you can kind of tell, again, you can't go off by looks, but you can kind of look at him and tell something's not quite right. It's in the eyes, right? It's in the eyes. Something's just not quite right, right? In the eyes, there's something just not quite right. It's like, they say the eyes are the windows into the soul, and you can just see there's just, something's off. Just a little bit. All right, George Washington Carver. There's a video, is not known to have any grandchildren. That's not it then. Who was it, man? It was, they're like, there was someone else. I can't remember who it was, but there was a group of young black women. And they were all like, "Oh, our daddy's related to blah 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 blah, or our granddaddy's blah 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 blah," and they don't really even realize that they're all heathens, man. They're just Edomites, and they don't even get it, So let's get 1 Samuel 16:7. Talking about looks. Every smart quote originally came from the Bible. A lot of dumb quotes that can't be attributed to the Bible because they're just dumb. But every smart quote, all right, has root in the Bible. What did I type in? 16. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, 7, not 17. So, verse 7, not 17, but says, 1 Samuel 16:7, the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance. Now, what is countenance? What is this word, countenance? What does this mean? Saying appearance. You see it right here. Appearance, right? Appearance. Luster, right? Appearance. So look not on his countenance, on his appearance, right? Look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. He's saying, look, Samuel, don't look at how he looks, all right? I have refused him. It doesn't matter how he looks, right? I have refused him, for the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Okay, the Lord isn't looking, look at how tall he is, look at how brown he is, look at how much melanin is in his skin. No, he's looking at the heart, which really dealing with the soul. Okay, he knows who are his and who he's not. You got to realize the Lord's the ultimate shepherd. Okay, the ultimate shepherd. And a shepherd knows who his sheep are. You're not just, are these my sheep? I don't know if these are mine or not. No. That's not how a good shepherd, right? That's not how a good shepherd operates. It says, this is verse 19, 2 Timothy 2:19. Nevertheless, the foundation of Yahweh standeth sure, having this seal, the Lord knoweth them that are his. And let everyone that nameth the name of Hamashiach depart from iniquity. The Lord knows who his people are. Okay? He knows. He knows who the people are. Okay? Like it says, I am the good shepherd. And guess what? A good shepherd knows who his sheep are. Okay? But let's hear it from Yahushua himself right here in the red letter. Red letter, what does that mean? It means it's Yahushua speaking. So John 10:14, verse 14 says, I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lie down my life for the sheep. So, and you can continue reading if you want, but that's where we're going to go ahead and close out, because that's a good, powerful, boom, powerful, heavy hitter. And the Lord knows his sheep. Okay, just because you look like some way, the Lord you are not going to be confused with his sheep. No. What's this weird ass sheep doing? Not that the Lord would swear, all right, or say anything like that. But you'd have to, if you were a shepherd and you're looking at your plot of land, you see this one weird ass sheep. What the hell is what's this weird ass sheep? Here it is. All these other sheep are going, one way. This sheep bouncing up and down. You're like, what the fuck is this? This is a weird ass sheep. That ain't my sheep. None of my sheep do that. That ain't one of mine. And he looks like one of mine, but he's not one of mine, all right? And not everybody that looks like a Jake is in fact a Jake. And not everybody that looks like a heathen is in fact a heathen, okay? Looks can be deceiving. We don't go off a look. We go off the spirit here, okay? And a lot of y'all so-called black people out there are going to have a rude awakening when and you wonder why, you're over here like a fucking Tucker Carlson, all right, over here with your coon ass, well, the white man, he never did anything wrong. He never did. I'm like, yeah, that's because you're him. You're him, you fucking Candace Owens ass Tucker Carlson, motherfucker. You're them. You're a white person. That's why these you got a little bit of, why you black, but you don't got no sauce in you, bro. Well, that's because they might not have no sauce in them. Jake is the salt of the earth. They might not have no salt. All right? They might not have none. They might just be an unseasoned ass Edomite. All right? So anytime you see those weird, hey guys, how are you doing? And you can't always go off of that either, because some of these Jakes are so fucked up that they become likened to the heathen. They act just like them. So even if you have Jake that act some type of way, they might still be a Jake. All right, Jake. Even if you have Jake that acts some type of way, like act really Edomite, they grew up around whites, they might still be a Jake, but they just don't know who the hell they are. Lost. All right, lost without sauce. So not everybody that looks like a Jake is in fact a Jake, and not everybody that looks like a heathen is in fact a heathen. Okay, looks can be deceiving. You got to weigh it through the spirit, as the scriptures say. So that's the lesson. All right, I'm gonna close out with that. Lord willing, it was edifying. Again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Make sure you do it orderly. Ask exactly what you want to know, and don't ask no stupid shit. All right, because we're not gonna touch on anything that's just stupid. Okay, why do you believe this? Why? Well, can't we all just be brother? No, we can't. Matter of fact, if you go and say some stupid shit like that, I'm just gonna probably make a lesson on you, honestly. Unless it seems like you're just trying to have a lesson made out of you for, to be, your 15 minutes of lack of fame thereof. But if you have any questions, orderly questions, you actual diligent brothers and sisters in this truth, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll try to get to them. Or, try to ask another brother or elder or apostle, all right, if I have to help me if it's something I don't know, or I might just refer you to, one of the apostles of Great Millstone. Again, not affiliated, but that's who I learned from. So, of course, if I'm going to, tell you where you should be learning from, I'm going to say that it's them. So, that's that. Again, Lord willing, was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Remember, looks can be deceiving. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.